Have you ever stopped to think about why some people seem to be specially protected, even in the midst of the toughest adversities? Why do they face challenges that could bring them down, yet remain steadfast, almost as if something greater is sustaining them? This protection is not a matter of chance. It is God's care over those He has chosen to fulfill a unique mission here on earth. The chosen ones possess something that transcends the ordinary. It is not just physical or mental strength, but a spiritual resilience that keeps them standing, even when everything around them seems to crumble. This protection is the result of a divine connection, a powerful bond that transforms the lives of these people into a reflection of God's plan. This does not mean that they do not face difficulties. Everyone does. But it means that, even in these moments of struggle, they are strengthened by something greater, a force that comes from the Creator Himself. But why does this protection exist? Why do the chosen seem to walk different paths? The answer is simple. God has a plan for each of them. He knows the purpose for which they were called, and understands that, to fulfill it, they need health, strength, and resilience. This immunity, both physical and spiritual, is not just a privilege, but an essential tool for the divine purpose to be realized in their lives. Moreover, this divine protection is directly related to faith. The chosen possess an unwavering faith that elevates their spiritual vibrations, protecting not only their health, but also their mind and soul. This is not magic, nor an indecipherable mystery. It is God's plan in action, working on behalf of those He has called to make a difference in the world. Today I invite you to reflect on this. Let's explore together what makes the chosen so protected, how faith acts as a shield, and how this divine connection is reflected in their lives. Before we proceed, I want to ask something special. Subscribe to the channel right now to continue following content that strengthens your journey and helps you understand the greater purpose that God has for your life. Let's dive into this deep and special theme together. The health of the chosen is not something that is limited to the physical body. It is much deeper. There is a connection between what happens in the spirit and what happens in the body. When you are in tune with God, living according to the purpose He has placed in your life, this is reflected in your energy, your attitudes, and even your health. The chosen have a unique energy, which often the people around them cannot even explain. It is something that comes from their faith, their trust, and their alignment with what is spiritual. This energy is not just something that gives strength or motivation. It acts as a shield, warding off many of the negative things that could affect you, such as diseases or attacks that weaken the body and mind. This elevated energy functions as a protective field. It prevents things that would normally affect other people from taking hold. This happens because the chosen live with their hearts firmly in God. Their faith, their prayer, their trust in the Most High create a healthy spiritual environment, which is directly reflected in the physical. When you keep your mind and spirit connected to Him, negative forces find no space. The immunity that the chosen possess begins in the spiritual. When you live in faith, with elevated thoughts and gratitude to God, you raise your vibration. This vibration is like a barrier that prevents bad energies or diseases from reaching your life. It is like a well-kept house. When the doors and windows are closed, no strong wind or dirt from outside can come in. Science also helps to explain this. Studies show that people with positive thoughts, who live with less stress and more gratitude, have stronger immune systems. In the case of the chosen, this goes beyond the physical. It is not just about avoiding negative thoughts, but about staying connected with the divine plan. This connection brings peace, strength, and protection. This does not mean that the chosen never face health problems. They face challenges like anyone else. But because they are spiritually aligned, they often manage to recover faster or prevent situations from becoming severe. It is as if God sustains them in a special way so that they continue to fulfill the mission for which they were called. Physical health is a reflection of what happens in the spirit. When you nourish your spirit with the Word of God, with prayer and with trust in Him, this strengthens your body. On the other hand, when you allow yourself to be carried away by feelings like fear, anger, or discouragement, it is as if you are opening a door for negative things to enter your life. Living with faith does not mean ignoring reality or pretending that nothing is wrong. It means recognizing that God is in control and that you can trust Him to protect your health and your life. When your trust is in Him, you create an atmosphere that keeps away what does not belong to God's plan for you. The chosen are called to live differently, not only spiritually but in all aspects of life. This difference is noticeable in how they face challenges and how they maintain their health, even in difficult times. If you are chosen, your immunity does not come only from good physical choices, but from your spiritual alignment. It is a blessing that is available to all those who place their faith in the Most High. The chosen have a greater purpose in their lives. They are not here by chance, but because God has called them to fulfill specific tasks. This mission requires strength, focus, and determination. That is why God takes care of them in a special way, sustaining them in difficult moments and keeping them strong, both in body and spirit. When we look at the stories in the Bible, we see clear examples of how God protects those He chooses for a mission. Think of Daniel, thrown into the lion's den. Humanly, his survival seemed impossible, but God kept him intact because he had a mission to fulfill. Another example is Job, who went through great suffering but remained faithful. His faith was what sustained him, and God rewarded him abundantly. These examples show that God not only chooses, but also strengthens those He calls. The chosen carry a responsibility that cannot be interrupted. They are used as instruments to bring hope, healing, love, and truth to a world that desperately needs it. If an illness or any other difficulty prevents them from acting, the divine plan can be delayed. That is why God cares so much about protecting and strengthening them. He knows they need to be in good condition to fulfill their tasks. This protection does not mean that the chosen never face challenges. In fact, they often encounter difficult situations. But these moments serve to strengthen their faith and prepare them even more for their mission. The chosen have something special. Even in difficulties, they do not give up because they know they are here for a greater purpose. The mission of each chosen one is unique. Some are called to teach, others to lead, and others to care for the people around them. No matter what the task is, it is always important and aligned with God's plan. When the chosen understand their mission, they find the strength to move forward, even when facing obstacles. This strength comes from the certainty that they are not alone, that God is with them every step of the way. Health is an essential part of fulfilling the mission. God knows this, and that is why He protects the chosen in many ways. This protection is not only physical, but also spiritual and emotional. When they are aligned with God's plan, the chosen find a strength that comes not only from the body, but from the spirit. It is this strength that enables them to continue, even when the journey seems difficult. It is important to remember that the divine purpose is not something imposed, but something that brings fulfillment. When the chosen follow their mission, they feel they are doing exactly what they were created to do. This does not mean that the path will be easy, but it means that it is worth it. The chosen need to remember that their strength comes from God. He is the one who sustains them, who opens doors, and who protects them from everything that could divert them from the path. Even in difficulties, they can trust that God is in control and that He will never leave them alone. When we think about our mission, it is essential to ask God what He wants from us and to align ourselves with the plan He has for our lives. This connection with the divine purpose brings clarity, peace, and the strength needed to move forward. I want to remind you that the chosen carry a unique energy, something that goes beyond what the eyes can see. This energy, or spiritual vibration, is a direct reflection of the state of the spirit and alignment with God's plan. When the vibration is high, it acts as a barrier against negative forces, preventing diseases, weaknesses, or spiritual attacks from reaching them. The law of spiritual vibration works like a frequency. Think of a radio. When tuned to the right frequency, you receive a clear sound without interference. This is how the lives of the chosen are. When they live with faith, trust, and gratitude, their spiritual vibrations align with the higher frequencies, those connected to the power of God. This connection creates an environment where negative forces find no space to act. Elevated thoughts play an important role in this. Gratitude, hope, and love are feelings that strengthen the spirit and raise the vibration. That is why the chosen, even amidst difficulties, seek to maintain trust in God and a positive attitude towards life. It is not about ignoring problems, but about facing them with a spiritual perspective, knowing that God is in control. On the other hand, low vibrations can open doors to weaknesses. Fear, doubt, and resentment are like interferences that divert the spirit's frequency. When these feelings are allowed to dominate, the body and mind become more vulnerable. It is as if the spiritual barrier weakens, allowing negative external forces to approach. Spiritual science helps us better understand this concept. When you live in alignment with God's will, your spiritual vibration remains elevated. This not only strengthens the spirit, but also positively impacts the physical body. It is like taking care of a garden. If you plant good seeds and water them frequently, weeds have no space to grow. Similarly, maintaining elevated thoughts and a life of faith creates an environment where diseases and weaknesses cannot take root. The chosen, being connected to a divine mission, are called to live at a high vibration. This is part of the spiritual protection they receive. When they choose to trust in God, live with gratitude, and keep their hearts full of faith, they strengthen this invisible barrier that protects them from many adversities. This spiritual law also applies to relationships and the environment around you. If you associate with people who spread negativity, it can influence your vibration. That is why the chosen are advised to surround themselves with environments and people that strengthen their faith and inner peace. Living with elevated vibrations is not something automatic. It is a daily choice. It requires taking care of the mind, body, and spirit, feeding them with things that come from God. Prayer, reading the Word, praise, and gratitude are practices that help maintain a high frequency. When you do this, you not only take care of yourself, but also bless the people around you. The chosen have a calling to live in a higher spiritual dimension. This elevation not only protects, but also enables them to fulfill their mission with strength and joy. By keeping their vibration in tune with God, they live a healthier, stronger life that is more aligned with the divine purpose. God's chosen ones have a special purpose in their lives, but this unique mission also attracts spiritual challenges. As bearers of divine light, they face constant attacks from negative forces that try to weaken them or divert them from their paths. These attacks can come in many forms: difficult situations, criticism, conflicts, or even thoughts of doubt and fear. But even in the face of these adversities, the chosen are not alone. Divine protection is like a powerful shield that surrounds the lives of those who have been called by God. This protection does not eliminate challenges, but ensures that nothing can destroy them or lead them away from the plan that God has for them. When a chosen one faces spiritual attacks, this divine barrier not only blocks negative influence, but also transforms these attempts into opportunities for strengthening and growth. A clear example of this protection is found in the story of Haman in the book of Esther. Haman planned to destroy Mordecai, one of the chosen, and all the Jewish people. He prepared a gallows for Mordecai, confident that he would succeed in executing his plan. But God intervened, and Haman himself ended up being punished for his actions, dying on the gallows he had prepared for another. This story reminds us that no trap set against the chosen will prevail. Everything that was planned for evil can be turned into good by the power of God. Divine protection acts silently but effectively. Often the chosen do not even realize how much they are being guarded. It may be that something negative was planned against them, but God has already provided a way out or nullified the attack even before it arrived. This protection comes not only from physical strength, but from the spiritual care that covers all areas of the lives of the chosen. It is important to remember that divine protection does not mean the absence of battles. The chosen face conflicts because they are part of a greater plan. But these conflicts are used by God to shape them, strengthen them, and prepare them for what is to come. Each attack that does not bring them down serves as a reminder that God is faithful and that He never abandons those who trust in Him. To strengthen this protection, the chosen must be in constant connection with God. Prayer is one of the most powerful weapons we have against spiritual attacks. When we pray, we declare our dependence on God and activate the spiritual barrier that protects us. Additionally, it is essential to remain in the Word of God, as it is our source of strength and wisdom to resist evil. Spiritual attacks also teach us to trust more in God. When we face challenges, we may be tempted to solve everything with our own strength, but it is in those moments that we learn that true protection comes from Him. The psalmist wrote, "1,000 may fall at your side, and 10,000 at your right hand, but it shall not come near you." Psalm 91:7. This promise is a reminder that God is in control, even when everything seems to be against us. The chosen are like torches that illuminate the world, and for this reason they attract opposition. But the light they carry is greater than any darkness. Divine protection not only guards them, but also empowers them to continue moving forward, fulfilling their mission and glorifying the name of God in all that they do. Healing is something that goes far beyond what the eyes can see. It is not just an isolated act of miracle, but a process that is deeply connected to faith. Faith is like a bridge that connects the natural to the supernatural, allowing God's power to flow into our lives. When you believe, you open the door for God to operate, bringing healing and restoration. The Bible gives us many examples of how faith is fundamental to accessing the power of healing. One of the most well-known is the story of the woman who suffered from a flow of blood for 12 years. She had tried everything, consulted doctors, and spent all she had, but her situation only worsened. However, upon hearing about Jesus, she had a thought of faith. "If I just touch His clothes, I will be healed." When she approached and touched the hem of Jesus' garments, her illness immediately disappeared. Jesus realized that something had happened and said, "Daughter, your faith has healed you. Go in peace and be freed from your suffering." Mark 5:34. This teaches us that healing did not come merely from the physical act of touching Jesus' garments, but from the faith she placed in that gesture. The chosen have special access to the power of healing because they trust in God and know that He is the source of all health and restoration. When they cry out in faith, they connect to the power of the Most High, which is capable of overcoming any human limitation. This active faith is what transforms vulnerability into strength. Spiritual science shows us that faith has a direct impact on the body. When you trust in God, your mind and spirit are at peace. This peace reduces stress, strengthens the immune system, and creates an environment where healing can occur. Doubt, on the other hand, does the opposite. It weakens the mind and body, opening doors for fear and negativity to take over. Doubt is like a weight that prevents the miracle from flowing. That is why Jesus often said to the people he healed, "Let it be done according to your faith." He knew that faith was the key to releasing God's power. When you believe, your mind aligns with the Spirit, creating the perfect conditions for God to work in your life. Faith is not only something that strengthens the spirit, but also sustains the body. When you believe that God is in control and can restore anything, it brings a confidence that eliminates fear. Fear paralyzes, but faith gives strength to move forward, even in the face of the most difficult circumstances. The chosen are called to live a life of faith, trusting in God in all areas, including health. This means that when facing a difficulty, they do not look only to human resources but cry out to the Lord, knowing that He is the greatest physician and the greatest restorer. If you are facing a health challenge or any other difficulty, remember the power of faith. Believe that God can act and cry out to Him. Your faith is what activates the miracle. When you place your trust in Him, you are not only strengthening your spirit, but also creating a pathway for healing and restoration. The lives of the chosen are not free from challenges. In fact, they face constant struggles, often more intense than those faced by others. This happens because their journey is unique and their mission is grand. God allows these challenges to occur, not to destroy them, but to strengthen and shape them according to the plan He has for their lives. The tests are like the fire that purifies gold. It is in the heat of trials that the chosen have the opportunity to grow spiritually, to become stronger, and to draw even closer to God. Each difficulty faced with faith and courage is a step forward in the journey to fulfill the divine purpose. Often, the chosen may feel overwhelmed by the battles. Illnesses, emotional problems, financial difficulties, or conflicts can arise from all directions. But it is in these moments that spiritual strength becomes evident. God does not abandon them. He is present in every detail, providing support and protection so that they remain steadfast. The spiritual immunity that the chosen possess does not mean that they are free from problems. It means that even in the most difficult circumstances, they will not be destroyed. This is because their strength comes not only from the physical or the mind, but from a direct connection with God. When this connection is maintained, they find the resilience needed to overcome any challenge. Illnesses, for example, can be a test, but the chosen have a powerful weapon: faith. This faith allows them to face what seems impossible, believing that God is the supreme physician and the restorer of all things. No matter what the physical body faces, the spirit remains unshaken. It is this spiritual strength that often leads to healing and overcoming. The story of Job is a classic example of the power of the resilience of the chosen. Job lost everything: his health, his family, and his possessions. Yet he remained faithful to God, refusing to curse him even when it seemed there was no way out. God not only restored everything Job had lost, but rewarded him abundantly. This story teaches us that, even in the most difficult battles, the chosen do not break because their strength comes from the Lord. Another example is Paul, who faced numerous difficulties in his journey as an apostle. He was persecuted, imprisoned, and even stoned, but he never gave up on his mission. In one of his letters, he wrote, "We are hard-pressed on every side, but not crushed, perplexed, but not in despair, persecuted, but not abandoned, struck down, but not destroyed." 2 Corinthians 4:8-9. This is the essence of the chosen. They may be pressed by circumstances, but they are never defeated by them. The tests also have a greater purpose. They serve to reveal the best in the chosen, to show themselves and the world the strength that God has placed in their hearts. When they face difficulties, the chosen discover abilities, gifts, and capacities that they may have never explored. They grow in wisdom, patience, and faith, becoming more prepared to fulfill their mission. These battles also have the power to inspire others. When someone observes a chosen one, overcoming challenges with faith and perseverance, it awakens hope and courage. The way the chosen handle their tests becomes a living testimony of God's power in their lives. Understanding this immunity goes beyond recognizing that it exists. It is knowing that it is closely linked to your life purpose. God has called you to something greater, and He knows that you need to be healthy and strong to move forward. Your connection with Him elevates your spiritual vibrations, driving away negative energies and creating a conducive environment for you to flourish. Faith is one of the greatest tools of the chosen. It is the channel that connects you to God's healing power, allowing Him to act in all areas of your life. When you declare the word, pray sincerely, and maintain your trust in Him, you activate a force that transcends human limitations. This faith is what sustains your mind, strengthens your body, and lights your path, even in the most difficult situations. The immunity of the chosen does not mean the absence of tests, but rather guaranteed victory amid them. Each challenge is an opportunity to grow, learn, and draw even closer to God. This immunity is a living testimony of the divine presence in your life and a demonstration of how much you are loved and cared for by Him. Now, I want to invite you to reflect on what we talked about today. Declare with faith, I am strong, protected, and guided to fulfill my purpose. Allow this truth to become part of your life and transform the way you face challenges. And to conclude, I would like to hear from you. Which of these truths spoke most to your heart? How have you felt God's divine protection in your life? Leave your comment below. Share your experiences and testimonies. Let's continue this conversation, because together we can strengthen ourselves even more in our journey as the chosen. I look forward to hearing what you have to say.